Thank you. It's good to see a full house. Unless you have four of a kind. Thank you so much for coming. How many of you enjoyed last month's show? Woo! That was a winner. You're going to enjoy tonight, and I'd like to give you a personal invitation to come back next month, April meeting for celebrating, it's the 29th, thank you, right here. Yeah, and it's just a few days after Shakespeare's birthday. He was born in April, over 400 years ago, okay? And we would like to celebrate Shakespeare's birthday by introducing you to Shakespeare's women. Now, most of us know Shakespeare's men. I would say maybe a few more of us, than the women. But we're going to change that. We would like to introduce you next month to Shakespeare's women. We'll celebrate Shakespeare's birthday with some wonderful readings, a little acting, some music. It's going to be a wonderful show. So I hope you all can find time next April 29th to be introduced or reintroduced to Shakespeare's women. Thank you.
That's correct. It's a Monday. So, tonight we present An Evening with James Joyce. For those of you who haven't been following along, I'd like to mention it is the month of March, and that St. Patrick's Day did fall last week, the 17th. So with that in mind, we put together an Irish medley, first songs, and then a play. So let's begin. I'd like to introduce Gregory Anderson, and he will sing a song as well, accompanied by Mark Hochberg. Thank you, and I leave you with Gregory and Mark.
Thank you, Michael. By show to be good, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to be in for an evening's fine entertainment. But first, I'd like to sing you a couple of songs. And this first song is about a beautiful lady who wore a black velvet band in her hair. And I would like to particularly dedicate this song to a lovely lass named Julie. Her eyes, they shone like the diamonds. You'd think she was queen of the land. And her hair hung over her shoulder, tied up with a black velvet band. In a neat little town known as Belfast, apprenticed to trade I was bound. And many an hour of sweet happiness I spent in that neat little town, till bad misfortune came o'er me and caused me to stray from the land, far away from me friends and relations, to follow the black velvet band. Her eyes, they shone like the diamonds, you'd think she was queen of the land. And her hair hung over her shoulder, tied up with a black velvet band. Well, I went out strolling one evening, not meaning to go very far, when I met with a ficklesome damsel. She was selling her trade in the bar, when a watch she took from a customer and slipped it right into my hand. Then the law came and put me in prison, bad luck to that black velvet band. Her eyes, they shone like the diamonds, you'd think she was queen of the land. And her hair hung over her shoulder, tied up with a black velvet band. One more time. Her eyes, they shone like the diamonds, you'd think she was queen of the land. And her hair hung over her shoulders, tied up with a black velvet band. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Very kind to you. Very kind. Now this next song, this one's about a different kind of lady from a different town in Ireland by the name of Dublin. Maybe you know it. If you do, please sing along. Dublin's fair city, where the girls are so pretty, I first set my eyes on sweet Molly Malone. She wheeled her wheelbarrow through streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. She died of a fever and no one could save her, and that was the end of sweet Molly Malone. Now her ghost wheels her barrow through streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh.
Give them a big hand. Let's give them a big hand. I hope you enjoyed the music by Gregory and Mark. Thank you very much, guys. I hope it puts you in the mood for what is to follow. James Augustine Joyce, 1882 to 1941, was an Irish novelist, a poet, and a literary critic. He contributed to the modernist avant-garde movement and is regarded as one of the most influential and important writers of the 20th century. Joyce's novel, Ulysses, published in 1922, is a landmark in which the episodes of Homer's Odyssey are paralleled in a variety of literary styles. Other well-known works, you might know, include the short story collection Dubliners, and the novel A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man, and Finnegan's Wake. His other writings include 3 books of poetry, a play, letters, and occasional journalism. But I digress. The dramatic satire our players are presenting tonight is called The Boarding House. It's from Joyce's collection of stories in The Dubliners. So let us begin. Time, late 1900s. Place, Dublin, Ireland. A front parlor in Mrs. Mooney's boarding house.
Clear the table. And don't forget to collect the bread crusts from the breakfast dishes. They'll be just fine for Tuesday's pudding. Bread pudding is always an excellent dessert.
And inexpensive, too, ma'am.
Well, it's no use throwing out good leftovers. Thrift, I always say, is next to godliness.
And a penny saved is a penny earned. You've said that many a time.
Well, I'm glad to see you're learning. You're a good girl, Marie.
I can't get used to the name Marie when my Christian name is Mary, just plain Mary.
Oh, you will. Marie is much more genteel. A name like that makes others treat you with more respect. And I only have your interests at heart, you know, dear.
Oh, ma'am, you have been so kind to a poor country girl like me. I got no one in the whole wide world. Giving me a job and this pretty dress straight off? Sure, Dublin must be paved with gold.
Oh, behave and do as you're told, and you'll do well. I'll teach you all the tricks of my trade. I need someone dependable like you to keep an eye on things.
I'll do anything, madam, I want to please.
Yes, then pay careful attention to the boarders, and let me know what's on their minds. Lonely men will always confide in a pretty girl. Don't be too familiar or friendly. You know, unless there's something to be gained, of course. Men want pleasure, but they don't want to pay for it. Like overgrown children who never think of the consequences. Sad, but that's the state of the world. Too many young girls have been ruined by promises hastily made between kisses.
Oh, not me. My mom always said that girls like that had to pay the piper.
I agree. But so should the young men, and pay in full. A man always has money in his pocket, but a woman's reputation is all that she has. Once her name is tarnished, she might as well be dead and buried. That's what life and my own experiences have taught me. Never allow your heart to rule your head.
You're so wise, madam.
Oh, it took me years to learn that lesson. Handsome is not always what handsome does. Believe me, appearances are deceptive.
And you've taught me that nowadays men are full of idle talk. They only want what they can get.
Oh, exactly, Marie. Oh, you'll do just fine working for me. As long as you don't lose your head. Young men can be so persuasive. But not my boarders. Most of them are well behaved and respectable and come from Dublin.
Except the tourists and the actors?
Artistes. They're traveling performers from the vaudeville shows. Usually I take a higher class of persons. But it livens up the house for others to have entertainers on the premises. And on Sunday nights, when they're not working, they put on a good show.
Which doesn't cost anything either. Is it either or either?
Well, I always say that free entertainment is the best.
You're absolutely right, madam.
Yes, and you'll do just fine with me, especially since Polly may be
leaving.
Leaving?
Oh, yes, ma'am, with Mr. Doran. Everyone knows about the romance in the house. They look so romantic together. They make such a lovely couple.
And why didn't you tell me at once what they were up to?
Oh, I know how to keep my mouth shut, ma'am, and I thought
that I knew?
Oh, well, I wouldn't say that.
But is that what you think?
Oh, I'll think whatever you want me to think, I'll think. Oh, I'm just a poor country girl, and city ways are so confusing.
Oh, that's more like it, my dear. You're learning to listen to your betters.
Thank you, madam. I certainly am. Besides, Mr. Doran is such a soft-spoken and refined man, not like some of the others. I've never heard him say anything disrespectful, and I'm sure he's treating Miss Polly like a gentleman. Everyone in the boarding house knows that they're a couple.
Everyone?
I think so.
Even Jack?
Oh, especially him. Your son, Jack, has been keen on what's going on. He looks out for his sister's reputation.
Oh, I'm sure he does. After all, his interests don't lie far from hers.
Why, just a few weeks ago, that cute, blonde juggler from London, I can't remember his name, but anyway, he made a disrespectful remark about Miss Polly. And Jack, your son, he almost got violent. Well, he said that if any fellow put on a show like that and treated his sister like that, he would bloody well put his teeth down his throat, so he would.
Things have gone too far. This is the sort of thing I need for you to tell me at once.
Yes, ma'am.
It's time to make things right. It's a good thing Miss Polly has her mother to protect her. Call her down immediately. Immediately!
Yes, madam, at once.
It's
Miss
almost
Polly!
12 o'clock and I don't want to be late for Sunday Mass.
Oh, no. Oh, Miss Polly, your mother wants to speak to you.
Oh, children can be such a worry. I thought Polly was shrewd like me. She must have known I was watching her. And Mr. Doran, I'd better tighten the noose.
It's broad and narrow, singing cockles and mussels.
Oh, Polly, come over here and sit down. There's something I want to talk to you about.
Yes, Mother?
Well, yes. That depends on what you did something wrong. That depends on what you call wrong. It's a very delicate matter. But being direct with you would be the easiest way of beginning. There have been rumors about you.
About me?
Yes, and about you and Mr. Doran.
About me and Bob? Oh, I ain't done nothing wrong.
Oh, Polly, watch your English. How many times have I told you that ain't isn't a proper word?
Well, I ain't. I mean, I haven't done anything wrong. Bob and me are just good
Oh,
friends.
Bob and I. So it's Bob you call him.
What? I thought you knew that I called him by his Christian
You
name.
what?
That I called him by his Christian name.
Oh, what's wrong about it is it depends on how far things have gone. And how could I know about that?
Well, you know everything that goes around.
And just what is going on? Just how intimate are you?
What do you mean, intimate?
Oh, Polly, stop that tapping. I mean to have a serious conversation with you. The most important conversation of your life.
What have I done?
Well, to be perfectly frank, you and Mr. Doran have been carrying on under my roof. A scandal, that's what it is. All the boarders know about it. My reputation will be ruined. After all, I run a respectable house.
Well, what can I do about that? You said you wanted me to be friendly with them.
Friendly, yes, but not intimate. And you know perfectly well what I mean. I knew you were a lively young girl. That's why I decided to keep you at home after you lost your last job, just to help with running the house. I also knew the boarders liked to look at a pretty face.
And that I could flirt with them. Well, that's what you wanted, wasn't it? Well, there ain't nothing wrong about that.
I'm not talking about flirtation, young lady. I'm talking about something more serious. My reputation and your reputation. A dishonored mother and a disgraced daughter.
Oh, now, what can I do about that?
Demand marriage. Go to Mr. Doran and make him agree
To marry me?
yes, marry you.
Oh, I could never do that. It's so unromantic. I want Bob to propose to me.
Oh, don't be such a silly little fool. Mr. Doran's a good catch. There aren't that many young men in Dublin with a good job and a future ahead of them. A lot of them spend a lot more time at the pub than earning an honest living. Mr. Doran will help you move up in society.
I don't want to marry like that. I want Bob to propose to me and
Oh, you're a silly little goose, young lady. Take my word for it. Just look at my own marriage.
your marriage? But you love me, Dad. I thought that you always
I've said a lot of things in my life, always to protect you and your brother. But you're old enough now to know the truth, to know the traps that men can set for you. Your father proposed to me, and I fell for his sweet talk.
Well, Bob and me, that's different.
Oh, different, it's not different. All men are alike. They can butter you up with sweet talk, but they won't assume responsibility unless they're forced to.
It ain't like that with Bob and me. We're serious. We're in love.
And I wasn't. Do you think you're the first girl to ever fall in love? That was my big mistake. Falling in love. Love can be cruel. Believe me. When I first met your father, he was foreman in my father's butcher shop. I was young and innocent and fell for all his romantic twaddle. I thought everything he said was gospel truth.
Well, wasn't it?
No, And we didn't live happily ever after the way they do in fairy tales. When my father died, your father started to ruin the butcher shop. He wasn't used to having money. It passed through his fingers and he drank it away. Then one night, in a drunken frenzy, he ran after me with a cleaver. It was then that I threw your father out, the little drunkard. Oh, stop that humming. Pay attention. I'm telling all of this for your own good. What was I supposed to do?
I don't know. Love will always find a way.
Oh, love. I had no time for love. I had to think of your brother and you. That's why I went to church and got a separation with all the children in my care. I salvaged the little money that I had left, bought this house, and that was the end of my romance.
Well, Bob's not like that.
Oh, they're all like that. The sooner you realize it, it'll be better for us all.
Oh, Mother, I couldn't force him into marrying me. I want Bob to propose to me, to tell me he loves me.
Oh, to make the first move is what you want?
Mm-hmm.
He's already done that. Now he has to pay. He's old enough to realize he's wronged you. He's wronged you and me, taken liberties with my daughter while I offered him genuine hospitality. He knows better than that.
Well, I won't force him into marrying me, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Oh, yes, there is, young lady. I intend to do something about it at once. First, I'll call your brother down. He's quite persuasive with his fists. And Doran is no match for him. He'll knock some sense into him.
No, don't call Jack, please. Oh, he'll hurt Bob.
Oh, and why shouldn't he thrash any man who dishonors his sister?
Oh.
Jack, come down.
Please don't call Jack. He'll hurt Bob.
Then stop your sniveling and pay attention to what I say. Think about your future. I sent you to work as a typist. And what happened? Your father, reeking of liquor, snuck down to the office every other day and asked to see you. Fortunately, I pulled you out of that job before you got fired. What will happen to you if you let Doran slip through your fingers?
Oh, that won't happen. Bob will propose to me.
Oh, stop prattling. Pay attention. If I send you to work again, what's to prevent your father from pestering you?
Oh, but he's my father, and I can't.
And like you love him?
Yeah.
Like you love Bob?
Oh.
Phew. Your father came around to the office not because he loves you, but because he wanted a handout. He needed money for liquor, that's all. He doesn't care about you. He never once in all these years helped to support you. Be grateful that you have a mother to look out after your best interests.
But Mother,
What kind of future do you have? You'll never keep a job as long as your father lives. He'll see to that. And without a job, how will you take care of yourself? I can't keep you in this house indefinitely. Marie is very efficient. She's all the help I need. If you don't work, where will you meet eligible young men? Answer that question, Polly.
oh, but Bob
is fine as long as he is your husband. If you don't marry Bob, who will you marry? Husbands are hard to find in Dublin, and Mr. Doran comes from a good social background. He has an excellent job, but at his age, what is he, 35 or so? I'm sure he has some money stashed away in the bank. I couldn't have chosen a better candidate for marriage.
But Mother,
Pay attention. Do you want to end up an old maid? Is that the kind of life you see for yourself? Well, think of me for once. How will I ever get you off my hands if you don't accept Mr. Doran's offer?
Get me off your
Oh,
hands.
you know what I mean.
I'm afraid I do. Oh,
But
Bob hasn't said anything to me yet.
Oh, just leave it to me. That's what mothers are for, to see that their daughters get married. My mother died when I was still a babe, and my father didn't have the sense to see that my marriage was doomed. Only a mother could have seen that. Praise be to God that you have a mother. I'll call Mr. Doran to come downstairs.
Oh, here to see me? Oh, no, don't.
Oh, stop that foolishness.
Oh.
I thought I'd talk some sense into you. I'll leave you alone with him for a while so that you can tell him how things stand. And after you have a little chat with him, I'll talk to him. Now remember to act helpless and cry. Don't let him off the hook. Use all your feminine wiles. Marie!
Yes, madam, what is it? I finished clearing off the table.
Oh, very good. I want you to get Mr. Doran at once.
Oh, yes, ma'am, at once.
Oh, I can almost hear.
Oh, Miss Polly, I can almost hear those wedding bells. Congratulations.
Oh, that's enough. Get Mr. Doran.
Yes, madam, I'll get him at once.
I'll leave you now, Polly, so you can have a pleasant chat with Mr. Doran. And go to the mirror and fix your face. You want to look your best. For Bob.
Yes, Mother. Oh, Bob!
Oh! Easy,
Oh.
someone might see us.
Oh, I don't care if the whole world sees us. Oh, it doesn't matter anymore.
What on earth are you talking about?
I told my mother about our affair this morning.
Everything?
Well, I left out the details, but enough. And now she wants to talk to you.
She
wants to see you.
See me about what?
About what we're going to do. Oh! I'm so upset. I could kill myself.
Calm down, Polly. I'll handle her.
Oh, but what are you going to do? She's furious. She won't listen at all.
Don't worry, Polly. I'll handle her. I'll think of something.
Well, I don't know what you can say. I've never seen her so angry.
Saw, Polly, saw. I told you to watch your grammar.
I'm sorry, Bob. Please be patient with me, but I'll try. But isn't there something you want to say to me?
Yes, but we're in trouble now that your mother knows.
Oh, but there really must be something else that you want to say.
Yes, we should have been more careful.
What are we going to do? Oh.
What am I going to do? How will I find a way out of this mess?
But I thought you loved me. You said you loved me, and you know I care for you, and I love you, I stayed up last night just to wait for you to come home, and I saved you a piece of cake, and I was all ready to...
Stop babbling, Polly. I never promised you anything. I've never lied to you, have I?
But you said you loved me. Oh, if I'd known you were going to carry on like this, oh, I would never have ever...
Started the affair? You were the one who trapped me. Remember you knocked on my door one night?
Oh, I only asked you to relight my candle.
You were half naked.
It was bath night, and I wore a flannel robe.
Yeah, that flew open, and then...
And then we kissed,
Uh-huh.
and kissed, and I lost all self-control for love of you. And if I'd known, I would never have...
Oh,
never.
this is what it counts to. Scenes and hysteria. I should have known better than to have an affair with a 19-year-old girl. I should have been more discreet. I should have...
Oh, what's going to happen to us? Mother wants to see you.
Don't worry, Polly. Your mother is no match for me.
I think both of you have had ample time to take care of business.
Brother Bob won't
Mr. Doran will do what is proper after I have a chat with him. Now, Polly, leave us alone for a few minutes and then I'll call for you. Let's not waste time, Mr. Doran. Sit down. You owe me an apology, and you owe Polly what?
I don't owe anyone an apology. Whatever happened was not my fault.
Are you blaming Polly? Why, no one in his right mind would believe that.
What I'm saying is the truth, whether you like it or not. I didn't start things. She was the one that started things up.
And you think you can go off without making reparations?
Is it money you're after? How much do you want to hush up the affair? 25 pounds?
25 pounds.
50.
Oh, 50?
75 pounds. 75 pounds is the highest I'll go.
Oh, some mothers I've heard would accept such paltry sums.
100 pounds. Take it or leave it.
Have you lost all sense of decency to think that I would barter for my own child?
A child? You call her a child?
Yes, a child, an innocent child.
I'd call her a seductress.
Oh, sit down, Mr. Doran. Let's be honest and stop this charade. A man of your experience would find it easy to take advantage of a young girl. Anybody can see that you're a man of this world who's tasted its pleasures, and that you're old enough to know better than to prey on a lovely
A clever temptress. She enticed me over and over again, as if it were all planned out.
It was all planned out by you. A man of your years is no match for a child. Polly could never have plotted to trick you by herself.
Well, she could if she had her mother's help.
Oh, how dare you imply that I had anything to do with this sordid affair? The guilty would do anything to deny their complicity. First you betray my daughter, now you try to slander me. Believe me, Mr. Doran, you'll have to come up with something better argument. Remember, I am not a child.
Of that, I am fully aware, madam.
Madam? Madam indeed. Do not overreach yourself, Mr. Doran. I run a respectable house in a respectable neighborhood. Hardwick Street is a first-rate address.
That you run a house is not open to debate. All the boarders are aware of your running a house. Almost everyone in Dublin knows what kind of house you're running. Only you seem to be unaware.
Oh, such slander will get you nowhere.
Slander? It's the truth. I'm not the first one Polly's laid down with, and I can get witnesses to that.
Insults, Mr. Doran, just insults. And I'll have you know I've had to deal with stronger opponents than you, and I won every time. I don't know what kind of gambler you are, Mr. Doran, but I'm holding all the cards in my hand.
Oh. So it's come to gambling, has it? Well, let me tell you, I'm a gambler.
And a poor one at that. You gambled on Polly's silence and didn't count on her mother's intercession.
A better word would be manipulation.
Oh, have it your own way, Mr. Doran, but I'll do everything in my power to protect my daughter and my interests. I have public opinion, morality, and religion on my side. Your only course of action is to admit defeat.
And to what?
Marry Polly.
Marry Polly?
Yes, marry Polly. Come on, Mr. Doran, there are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Marriage is the only solution. Besides, you're getting on in years and it's time for you to get a wife.
A wife? Marriage?
Yes, a wife and marriage. Oh, you couldn't face them? Marriages are...
No, I couldn't. You know,
Oh, you're an animal caught in a trap.
Yes, I am. And I couldn't face the other boarders. They
But you wouldn't
laugh
have
at
to
me,
face-
laughing stock.
We wouldn't have to face them for long. We'll have the wedding as soon as possible, and then you and Polly could set up Love House immediately.
No way will I marry Polly.
Oh, contain yourself, Mr. Doran. Or better yet, leave the premises.
Leave the premises?
Yes, leave the premises. I won't have a seducer living under my roof. I'll call the police first and tell them that's what you've been up to. Marie, come here at once.
What is it, madam?
Yes, straighten up Mr. Doran's room, put new linens on the bed and dust the room thoroughly. He's moving out immediately.
Leave my things alone!
And don't forget to hang out the for rent sign.
Leave my things alone. I'm not going anywhere. The madam here seems to have lost her senses.
Insults will get you nowhere. I order you to vacate the premises at once, do you hear?
My rent is paid up through the end of the month, and I'm not
Pay
leaving.
him no mind, Marie. Out he goes like yesterday's leftovers.
Oh, yes, madam, I'll do what you want at once. I'll put up the shingle for rent.
Oh, Mr. Doran, go.
Oh, sorry.
Mr. Doran, I hope you realize now that I mean business.
A nasty business, from what I can see. I'll call the police myself. That's what I'll do.
The police, is it now?
Yes, the police. They'll settle matters. The law's on my side, not yours.
Call the police? Is that what you really want? I thought you were a reasonable and mature individual. The police would cause scandal, and then what would people think? News gets around so quickly in Dublin.
Damn it, I don't care what people think.
Stop cursing. I'm a God-fearing woman. I won't have such language in my house, especially on a Sunday. You may not care what people think, but I do. I run a decent establishment, and I care what people think. Public opinion matters to me, and it should matter to you.
Why should I be concerned with public opinion?
Oh, use your head. No one, not even the police, would believe that a grown man would be compromised by an innocent young girl. Why, everyone would laugh at you. Marriage is the only way out for you. Marriage, nothing more, nothing less.
Marriage? I might as well commit suicide.
Oh, if that's your intent, I have a cleaver in my kitchen.
I'm sure you do.
Well, I get it, but I don't think you got the courage to use it. No, I'm afraid marriage is your only way out. And you do like Polly, don't you?
Well, of course, but not enough to marry her. What would my family say? They'd be horrified.
That you were marrying beneath you? Is that what you're implying? You needn't worry about your family. I'm as good as they are. I can hold my head up high in society. I'm an honest businesswoman.
Is that what you call yourself? That's a laugh. Your house, your boarding house, has gotten a bad name.
A bad name? Everyone knows that I run a respectable house. A bad name indeed. It'll be even more respectable when the likes of you are gone. A bad name indeed. If this house were a den of iniquity, why have you stayed here? I'll tell you why. To seduce the owner's daughter. Calling my house names won't get you off the hook. Admit you're guilty and take your punishment.
It would be punishment enough to have you for a mother-in-law. A butcher's daughter with a dissolute son and a lascivious daughter? No, marriage is out of the question. Have you heard Polly speak? Oh, her grammar's atrocious.
Oh, that can be fixed as long as you tend to matters and marry her. Under the circumstances, it's the only proper solution. How can you speak of...
How can you speak of propriety when you set me up? And even worse, set up your own daughter.
Are you calling me a bad mother?
I'm only speaking the truth.
Well, if it's the truth you're after, then let's get down to business and stop trying my patience. I've got too many important things to attend to, so please stop wasting my time. I intend to catch the 12 o'clock mass, and it's almost 11:30. I won't be late, do you hear? I won't be late. I have to take care of my religious duties.
How can you speak of religious duties? You deal with moral questions like your cleaver puts out a chop.
Oh, insults are not getting us anywhere. Let me speak to you as a practical person. You have a fine position, Mr. Doran, which I'm sure pays you handsomely enough, I should imagine, to establish a home and to support a wife. And you work for a large Catholic wine merchant, isn't that so?
Yes,
And how many years have you been in their employ?
12 years.
Oh, that's a long time. You wouldn't like to think that those years have been an utter waste, would you? I know you recently received a promotion, and sooner or later more promotions will come your way. Who knows what the future holds? You may become a partner or
What are you getting at?
any hint of scandal would jeopardize your position. A great Catholic wine merchant could never keep a dissolute employee. It might cause a scandal and hurt business. No, you'd get the sack, and everything you worked for would go down the drain.
Are you threatening to blackmail me?
Blackmail? I'd be careful what I said, but careful about using such a word. I'm merely sticking to the truth. If a hint of scandal go out, you know what the consequences would be. And if you don't do the right thing by Polly,
Then you would spread rumors.
oh, how you misjudge me. A good, upstanding woman. Your own heart must be black indeed. I never traffic in rumors. But I have an obligation to speak the truth, and you know how small Dublin is.
And guilty or innocent, I'd lose my job.
Oh, I see you understand me completely. Now, you wouldn't want me to pay a visit to your office, Mr. Doran, would you? I can be very persuasive. No one would question my word.
Oh, I can just hear my boss, old Mr. Leonard, calling out in his rasping voice, "Send Mr. Doran in here, please." And I'd be done for. All my years of work would be wasted.
That's the long and the short of it. I'm glad you're beginning to see the light.
But marriage.
Oh, I hold all the aces in my hand. If you like, go to church with me and receive confession.
I went to confession last night.
And did you admit everything?
Everything.
And what did the priest say?
Reparation must be made.
Just as I thought. The church and God are behind me.
I hope they both do penance for what they're doing to me.
Oh, blasphemy, Mr. Doran. You'll have to watch your tongue if you're to be part of my family.
I finished clearing up Mr. Duran's room, and I've tidied up everything.
You've hung up...
Oh, I did. I hung up the shingle. Yes,
Oh,
the
take
room
it
to
down,
rent
take it
shingle.
down. We won't be needing it now. Mr. Doran will be staying with us.
Oh, may I be the first to congratulate you, sir? Polly is
That's
such
enough, Marie.
Oh, yes, madam. Excuse me, madam. Excuse me, madam.
You'll take the sign down?
Excuse me, madam. I'll take the sign down.
Ah, yes. Poor man. Now, Mr. Doran. No, Bob. Since you'll be part of the family, I'm off to church.
I hope you go to confession.
Well, Polly, Polly, come down. Mr. Doran wants to speak to you. He has something very special to say.
Oh, all the money that ever I had, I spent it in good company. And all the harm that ever I've done, alas, it was to none but me. And all I've done for want of wit to memory now, I can't recall. So drink with me a parting glass. Good night and joy be with you